P. Diddy is not having a good week. First, Brendan Paul cops a plea deal. Then video footage of P. Diddy beating Cassie Ventura in a hotel services. Now, I've dealt with the Cassie Ventura issue in a separate video that I'll link to below. For now, we're just going to deal with the Brendan Paul issue.
Rap mogul Diddy's alleged drug mule is avoiding jail time. Brendan Paul accepting a plea deal in his felony drug case. As part of the deal, Paul must enter a 6-month substance abuse program. If that is completed, the charges against him will be dismissed. Paul was arrested back in March after officers found cocaine and marijuana candy in his luggage while he was getting ready to board a flight to Miami Opa-locka Executive Airport.
For those of you who don't know who Brendan Paul is, let's have a look back at the Rodney Jones complaint that was filed, I believe, back in February and see what he has to say about who this Brendan Paul person is. So Rodney Jones alleges that defendant Quorum had the following individuals execute the following tasks for a RICO enterprise. Brendan Paul, he works as Mr. Combs's mule. He acquires and distributes Mr. Combs's drugs and guns. He alleges again that Brendan acquires and distributes Mr. Combs' drugs and guns, while another person carries the money and pays for the guns and drugs. And finally, he alleges that as part of a sex trafficking venture, Mr. Combs' co-conspirators benefited financially and received things of value from their participations in the Combs sex trafficking venture, including payments and other compensation from Mr. Combs. The co-conspirators who benefited financially include defendants Jay Combs, Quorum, and her direct reports, Brendan Paul, Frankie Santella, and Moy Bond. So that's a little bit about who we believe this Brendan Paul to be. So what about Brendan Paul copying a plea deal is a problem? Well, Brendan Paul was being charged with felony drug violations, and somehow he was able to escape serving time. So let's just assume without deciding that Brendan Paul isn't and hasn't agreed to testify against P. Diddy in any forthcoming civil or criminal cases that are brought against P. Diddy. Well, for those of people who are close to P. Diddy and who may have information regarding this alleged sex trafficking ring that P. Diddy may or not be involved in, well, they don't know whether or not Brendan Paul has agreed to testify. All they know is that he copped a plea deal. So they are now incentivized to come forward with evidence before they get charged with crimes alongside P. Diddy. And if they are charged, if they think that Brendan Paul has already agreed to testify against P. Diddy, well, that means he's likely going to testify against them too. And so again, they're incentivized to cooperate with the investigators during the investigation so that they too can avoid jail time. But what is more likely the case is that Brendan Paul has agreed to testify against P. Diddy. And that could be pretty much the death knell in this entire investigation, because if he is the mule, he probably knows everything. Let me know what you think in the comments below. For now, my name is Nathan Saunders, and this is The Legal Good.